Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Welder Wayne and welcome to my crafting world. Now it's been a while since we've carried on work with our Cutebee quiet house, but there is a bit of a funny story. Just before we went away to America, I actually filmed 2 videos so that Wayne could edit them and then put them up as and when. And it appears, when I've checked what videos were on there and how far I'd got, that he only edited 1, and because they were filmed on the same at the same time, he forgot that there were 2, so he then deleted the second one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap of what I did in that video, and then I'll repeat some of the, as we build certain pieces of furniture, you'll see the technique anyway. So in that second video, I completed this unit here, which is the unit that goes underneath the TV. So that sits there. And I also completed the coffee table that sits on the rug, like so. I think it goes that way. And as I say constantly, you know, you can put this furniture where you like. I'm just building it as it is. So at the end of the last video, we had that, and we also had the large sofa was made. So what we're going to do today is build the standard light that goes there. There is another bench as well, and if we've got time, then I might put in this first floor here as well, so that you can sort of see that we're starting to move up. So without further ado, I'm going to move this to one side and let's begin. So we're going to start with the lamp. Now there are a number of parts that we need for this, and this is going to need to dry. So let me get these out of my little box. So we only need a couple of sections for the lamp. This one here, which is D20, and D19, which is the small base, and they're basically going to stick together like so. The other part that we need is one of the paper elements, and that's this here, which is 312. I'll just hold it over to, so it's got some little cute cats on it, and this actually forms the lampshade. I'd have preferred it if they were dogs, but they do like cats, don't they? They have cat cafes. You can go into a cafe and in Japan and sit there with the cats. Strange. But anyway, so with this, we need to make it round. Now, if you watched, I think it was my book nook? I know I've done this before, but the easiest way to do this is to get something that is round. I'm just using a felt tip pen and roll it round. And what will gradually happen is the warmth of your hand and the pen will start to make it round without creasing, because that you don't want sort of big creases, and it should start to keep its shape. See, we're getting there. It does overlap. We need it to be, if I bring this up, it's got to be the size to fit in there, like so. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue and then pop that to one side. See which is the cuter cat. I think I'll glue over. I'm going to glue over this one. Sorry, it's a bit shiny. It's shiny paper, and obviously it is a mainly white black background on it. Just going to check the size for that. Yep, that looks fine. Now this does need to be held. You can either hold it with your fingers for a little while, put a paper clip on it, a peg, anything you've got to hand. I'm just going to use one of these quilting clips because I just happen to have one in the box. So there you have it. I'm just going to put that to one side to dry. Now what I need to do is to attach the bottom of this to that, like so. Now I am back, I know, with the book nook. I was using Gorilla Wood glue, but I am back to my Aleene's tacky glue. And you'll be pleased to know that when I was in America, I bought some more of it. So I'm going to pop those to one side because they do need to dry, and then we will attach those together. So as I said, we've already made, as in my previous video, one of the sofas, but there are two. There's a longer one and a shorter one. So let's make the shorter one. So it doesn't matter how much you make these, you still need to use these template sheets. They do come in handy. So this is the base, the actual seat part, and on here we're going to put a padded cushion. But what we're going to do is we're going to make up the sofa first and then put the cushion on. So again, just gluing. Be liberal with the glue, remember it does glue transparent. Oops. I want you to move. So just holding this like that. Now you do want the back sitting on the seat, okay? It doesn't go flush to it, it needs to sit on it. And then your side panels will do exactly the same. And because these also sit on the seat, you're going to need just to glue the sides of these as well, or one side. So that when you pop it on, it will attach to the base and to the back of the chair. Like so. You'll be pleased to know that I've got Phoebe in here because, once again, Wayne tried to lock her out and she managed to scratch the door until it opened. So I've just let her stay in here with me. So she's currently sitting behind me on the floor, feeling loved because she's in here. She really hates me being in here. Okay, now I'm going to straighten up these parts, but that gives you an idea of what it looks like. A bit like a park bench. So just try and make all these edges perpendicular to each other, so at right angles, like so. Remember, you can't put too much pressure because they are quite delicate. But there you go. So that's the top half done. And what we've got here now is the bottom. I'm going to just turn this upside down. Now these two sections here go at the front and at the back. And then we have 4 pieces of wood that go here and here to connect them. So again, this is quite fiddly. I know when I made the other one that you didn't see. Yeah, I am sounding like I'm holding a bit of a grudge, aren't I, that you lost that video. I will get over it. I do go quiet. I'm really sorry when I'm concentrating. I feel like I need some elevator music. While I do this. When you do this, you might want to wait for each section to dry before attempting, like I am, to put another section in. Now, it might make it easier because in a minute you could see this all collapse. I'm just going to pop a bit of glue each side here because this, putting these struts in will help support and keep these legs upright. So these going just here. It's really weird because I was going to make this sofa, as I'd already demonstrated one of the sofas, I was going to make this one off camera and do a Blue Peter special. Here's one I made earlier because you didn't need to see me sit and make 2 of them. So glad that that actually didn't happen now. So there's that. Now I do have another 2 pieces of wood that need to be put across let me just show you, across here, but I am going to let this dry first. So I am going to just move this to one side. And we're going to have a go at making the cushion panel. So this is the section that you need. Now let me just double check what size. This is D18, and you need also a piece of the wadding. Now when you look at the instructions, let me try and show you. They place the piece of wood in the middle of the wadding and cut out a huge section. You don't need to do that. If you're a proper crafter like I am, then we scrimp and save wherever we can. So you're not wrapping any of the wadding round. So, put it in a corner, put it at an edge like I actually did, so that you're not wasting all of this. Because, crafters like to put things in their stash for a rainy day. You never know when you might need it. So when you see these pictures and, they've actually placed this in the middle, when I actually looked at how you made it up, you didn't need to do that, because you only need, it says here, cut off the extra. Well, if you put it in a corner, there's not going to be any extra to cut off. So what I actually did was placed this in the corner. I drew around it with a pen just to make it a bit easier, and then I cut it out. And I ended up with two sections like this. And then what we need to do is just paste the wadding on the top. You don't need masses of glue. It is literally just to hold it in place while you glue on the top fabric. There you go. That looks just like that. And then what we need to do is we need to get, I'm just seeing if I've already cut it out. We need to take this piece of fabric here. And what we're doing is, now for this piece, we do need enough fabric that's going to trim around the edges. Now there is a template for this. Okay, so on one of the paper elements, you'll find a template that looks like this. This is actually on my template sheets, but I'm going to use that because I can't find mine at the moment. So there's our template, and there's our piece of fabric. And what we need to do is, again, I'm putting it towards the edge, and we're just going to cut round that. We cut out these corners just to make the folding easier. The fabric they supply you with does fray a bit. Let's just neaten that up if I put that to one side. But as I say, it's all being glued down anyway, so I wouldn't worry. If I were to do this again, I probably wouldn't use their fabric. I'd probably have a nice print. So I'd probably get myself just some poly cotton. So we've got a shape like that. And now what we do is we need the wadding side to be touching the fabric like so. And then all we do is we're going to put some glue on here, and we're going to pull up our edges. Now we do need to pull them, we want them tight or taut. Because no one wants a saggy seat. So start with one bit, pull that up nice and tight, and hold that in place. And then just continue round. And again, you're going to need to either sit there and hold it, or some pegs, just something to hold that in place while it dries. This isn't actually the easiest fabric to work with. A poly cotton would be better. Now once that's dry, I'll be able to trim all those edges off I'm just going to pop that to one side. And then we can come back to our light. So we've got our cushion drying, we've got our chair drying. So I'm just going to come back to our light now, because now what we need to do, and this is where it gets a little bit fiddly again, is we need to glue this to this section up here. And it is literally just with glue. So I'm going to pop my glue on here. I'm being quite liberal with it because I don't know exactly where the light fitting is going to touch it. Now what I've done with mine is I've actually put the seam hidden behind here. So it's up to you. You can have the seam, but what would be the back of the light. But say I've hidden mine here, so that actually, and I'm not going to show you too much at the moment because I need this to dry, but you then won't have a seam. So I need to prop that up over there. Now it might be that actually we can't attach that onto the lounge area until next time, because I really do need that to dry properly. Now the other thing they ask you to make, and again these are so tricky to make, are the cushions. And they're tricky because they're fiddly. Now for the lounge area, I think there are, what have I got there? There's about 8 cushions, I think, in total, and they're made out of the same fabric as what the seat cushions are. So sort of this white shiny fabric. Now I knew because of white balance and everything else, it would be really tricky to try and demonstrate how to make one of these, or how they make one of these. All right, so I've made up 3. I've still got a few to do. But it gives you the measurements for your cushion, and you just make out, there is a template as well, and you just need to cut this out of the fabric. So there's some pre-cut fabric. However, up in the bedroom, there is a cushion that is made out of this blue fabric. So I thought the easiest thing for me to do would be to actually demonstrate with this. Now, if you can sew, I know I can sew, but again, I wanted to show you the technique that they use. Then it would probably be neater and easier to sew these. But I'm going to show you what they suggest. So once you've got your rectangular fabric, what you need to do is to run a line of glue. And you're going to make like an envelope. So it's not going to be folded completely in half. It's almost going to be folded into thirds. So what you do is you fold it over, and again either hold, put pegs, and wait for that to dry. Now mine isn't dry, but I am going to move on. So remember, let that dry. Now in bag G, you get this wadding. And you just need, or stuffing, sorry, not wadding. And you just need a little bit. And what you're going to do is you're going to stuff this cushion. Now obviously you're trying to stuff this without the sides coming unstuck. Now I'm sure the person that makes the cushions for the photo shoots has obviously been doing this for years and has got this off to a fine art. But I've made quite a few cushions on these kits, and they're all made in the same way, and every time they look a bit odd. So in your imagination, pretend that those sides are stuck, because I will be pegging them. And then what we do is we fold over this top bit, and once that's folded over, you're going to end up with a little cushion like this. Right, so I'm just going to glue this down, and then I'm going to put some little pegs on it. It's quite warm in the workshop today, even though it's quite breezy outside. I was originally going to do this. So this is Saturday morning. So this is, sorry, Sunday morning. I was supposed to do this video last Monday, and that's when England decided to have its mini heat wave. And there's just no way. My school didn't close. We stayed open. So I'd been at school all day and I was absolutely exhausted and just, I don't do the heat very well. I'm fine when I'm on holiday. I think it's a different, we all say it. Brits are really good at saying, oh, it's a different type of heat. I think because you're not working, you're relaxing and you can just jump in a pool whenever you like. But I don't cope very well. I get a bit ratty. So that's enough about me. It's all about me. So there's my cushion. So I'm using these little clips just to hold that in place. So they do look really, really cute. In fact, actually, this blue one looks better than the white ones I've made. And again, you know, they've gone for a very minimalistic look. If I were to build this again, I'd brighten up that lounge and have different colours in it. So there's your cushion. So this cushion I'll put away now. This is for the, I think it's the bedroom it goes in upstairs. But I think there's about 6 cushions that you need to make for downstairs. But that's the technique. Simple, but fiddly. So let's put them to one side. I can make them on a rainy day. Come back to my seat cushion that I've made. I hope I'm not jumping backwards and forwards too much. It's sort of trying to show you something, but at the same time giving things time to dry. Sometimes you can move on when something is still a bit wet, but not when it's all going to fall apart. I'm just carefully trimming the edges. Bring back our lovely little sofa. And then we're going to glue this to the bottom. So I'm just going to put some glue to hold it in place. And there's the cushion like that. So all we need to do now is just to stick 2 pieces of wood there for the cross beams. And there's your completed sofa number 2. Now, there are another couple of little bits. There is a footstool for the lounge, but I'm going to leave that till next time, because what I want to do is, before we finish, I'm going to see if I can get how dry this light is. Did it work? Oh, it has. Now that is going to be really, really delicate, but it does appear to have glued. Thinking about it, you could have actually also put glue down the side of the lampshade, because it fits in. If you've made it the right size, it should fit in snug. So we'll see how it goes. But do you remember ages and ages and ages ago we fitted in this LED? Well, this LED literally goes inside like this, so when it's lit up, it looks as though the lampshade is lit up. So I'm going to get this lamp base glued on the bottom. Now, if you remember, it did originally say, oh, you need to glue down this light cord, and I said to you at the time, I'm not going to do that because I need to make sure it's in the right place. I need to make sure the LEDs are going to work. I put mine straight. You could put it at a jaunty edge or a jaunty angle if you wanted to. That looks really cool. And obviously, again, I will glue those bits and pieces down because this isn't going to be a toy, so no one's going to be playing with this. But what I will do is, just before we finish then, because we now are ready to start building up. So this is how it looks at the moment. And what we've got is we've got a section that comes out from here. And this, I think, is looks like a study room. All right, before travelling along to what this here will be a bathroom, and then this part is the bedroom. So this is the section that we're going to put in now, so that we're ready to start moving up. And I'll show you what you need. Now, I'd already prepared these because you'd seen me do this before. So I've actually glazed all of the windows already. You watched me do that for the kitchen. You didn't need to see me do it again. And I papered all the wall parts and the floor parts. Again, you didn't need to see me do that. So let me get the sections that I need. Okay, so this is A5. All right, so A5 comes as a wooden block. And like normal, you've got the white bit, and underneath this paper was the brownie wooden section. And obviously that's then what we've pasted over with paper element 1-4. And this forms the floor for upstairs, the laminated floor area for upstairs. Now, the wider part of the shape goes towards the back of the property. So if I move those sections to the side, when it's glued in, it's going to look like that. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue, and also I'm going to put glue along here. So again, this is why that musical box needed to go in. If you're going to put it in, it had to go in quite early because it is now going to be enclosed. Once this section goes in, you'd have to literally take this apart to get at it. Because what we've got now are some supporting walls. Let me just, if I show it on that camera, you might just be able to see some dark lines, some dark dotted lines. And remember before, that just showed where walls went, supporting walls went. So for that, I need B20, which is just a plain wall, and I need B19, which has a window in it. So there's B19 with the window, and B20, which is the plain section there. She says dropping it. So the window's going to go on the outside edge with the plain wall sitting here. So I'm going to get those glued on. Now they say that the bit that's got the glazing, the perspex for the window, that sits on the outside. So when you're looking in at it, you get the effect of the lattice work on the window. So when you're gluing this, keep hold of the floor as well, because you don't want it all to. Okay. Again, just putting a little bit of pressure on the middle of this floor because I don't want that to collapse. And that goes there. And then we have B8, which is a larger section with a window that looks like that. And this has already been papered. So again, this came with a white back, brown front. I papered it with B8. Sorry, this is B18, the actual wood piece. B8 was the paper, and then obviously put the window in as well. And there's then only one more bit, and then we've got the next floor started. So I'm just gluing the base and popping some glue along the sides here so that it attaches onto the pieces of wall that we've already got in place. I've already glued the base. Again, I'm going to put this in carefully. I'm going to put some pressure here. So the reason I'm putting pressure in the middle is because that's the only place really where there's got a strong support. So if I turn this around, I appreciate the lounge furniture is probably going to move because I've now put it on a slab. back. And you see, I will show it on the bigger camera in a second. But the final piece we're putting on today is the roof for that section. Okay, and that looks like this. And for this piece, you do it the opposite to the windows. So that's where the glaze is. You can just see there's a shine to it where it's catching the light. So that is going to go into the room. Oops. The lattice section, so you can feel it, is sticking up. Like so. Now this is going to need a little bit of pressure. So what I will probably do is off camera, just grab something, probably a couple of Wayne's Vallejo paints, just to pop on here, because I think that'll just give enough weight to hold this down. So we are getting there. I can really appreciate now how difficult it must be for Wayne, but you know, and I know he's been doing this a while now, but having to swap from build to build, because when I started this build, I haven't done this for weeks, so it's got to be well over a month since the last video, I would have thought, if not a little bit longer. But it's trying to get back into the swing of, okay, what have I done? What am I doing now? Where are all the pieces? But I just pulled this up. I think that's looking really cool. So we've got a few more bits and pieces. I think there's a footstool, and obviously I'll finish those cushions, and there is a plant. But I think it looks as though we've made real progress getting that part of the top floor. So I really hope you enjoyed that build, and hopefully in a couple of weeks, by the end of the summer holidays, this will be finished and we can start our next build. So take care everybody and have fun. Bye.